We shouldn't take that personally or that anything's wrong.
Oh, no, no. And I think that was the biggest difference is that would require us to be thinking that you're thinking about us not thinking. We're literally not thinking of anything. It just
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for joining us again on Second Act TV. Happy that Rick Higgins, the founder and host of Mastering the Second Half, is joining us again. Rick, thanks so much for being here.
absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Rick, of course, is in the same space that we are here on Second Act TV, which is all about living your life to the fullest after 50. And I really like your segments about ask me anything. What do women want to know? And I know you've Googled questions that are out there. So let's discuss a couple of those. The first one that I thought was interesting and can so relate to, what are you thinking? What are men thinking?
Yeah, that's a good one. I once knew someone who would ask me that question, what are you thinking? And the male answer is always nothing. Well, you have to be thinking of something. Everyone has to be thinking of something. And what I don't think women understand is we can think of nothing. We actually have the ability, we have this little box inside of our head that looks like radio static. And when we go in there, we're not thinking of anything. It's little bits and pieces are bipping all around in our head, but we're basically off. It's something men apparently can do quite well. And I saw a little motivational speech on TED Talks. I think a guy was discussing this about how cannot do this and men can. And so it's really hard for one side to understand that, yeah, we men can actually think of absolutely nothing for long periods of time.
It's funny because when we first started Second Act, that was one of the questions that we did for the pilot that we were going to do. And you're right. I don't get it. It's almost like I don't believe it. I mean, I believe what you're saying. It's impossible for me to believe that you can just sit there and not think of anything. And I know that, a lot of times I'll look over at my boyfriend or, and I want to say, what are you thinking about right now? Or what? And then I just catch myself because I know better than to really expect an answer. But you're affirming from a male perspective that you
Yeah.
can literally have nothing in your head.
We can. Now, that doesn't mean that's always the right answer. Sometimes we may not really want to tell you what we're thinking. But for the most part, if we say nothing and mean it, it's literally possible. We're off. I don't know if it's evolutionary or what, but we can be off.
And it's not anything. We shouldn't take that personally or that anything's wrong.
Oh, no, no. And I think that was the biggest difference is that would require us to be thinking that you're thinking about us not thinking. We're literally not thinking of anything. It just
It's funny. Well, here, let's another question that you had, which I just recently saw that play out, and it was in a friend of mine that I know to dramatically, and we're all in, mind you, late 50s, early 60s. But that is, why are you looking at other women? Why do men look at other women?
ah. Well, the stock answer is we are looking at her for her beauty like we would art on the wall, but in a way that's actually pretty true. The problem is it's become a thing. We know we're not supposed to look, so we're trying hard not to look, and we always get caught looking, and then it becomes a thing. But honestly, if I look at another woman, it's not out of desire. It's not because I want to have them and show them what a real man is like or any of that Neanderthal stuff. It literally, there is something about her, and even sometimes he, that I find very interesting, compelling, either physical beauty or the way they carry themselves or something interesting, or maybe it's their smile. But sometimes you just look and you just, like I say, our brains sort of turn off and we just appreciate the beauty. It doesn't mean anything to do with the person we're with, although I realize that it is rude and to be staring and ogling, or at least the perception of it, might be indicative or show poorly with the person you're standing there with. But when we do catch someone's eye, it's almost always just an appreciation of something. And then we go back to our normal lives. We're not really thinking about it anymore. It kind of goes back to the first question. Guys can think not deeply as well as not at all.
Yeah, the I definitely have. I shouldn't say an issue with it. Depends on how it's done. I mean, I realize men look. Of course, I looked. I mean, we all look. That let's just we all do.
Mhm.
The intent behind it, of course, is what makes it wrong or right. I mean, if you want to go there, but it can be extremely rude if it's done while you're together.
Mhm.
I mean, so I think maybe that's something I would want to be cautious of, unless you're trying to piss somebody off. I would say pay attention to that.
True. I mean, if you're a narcissist, a philanderer, I mean, that's a whole different story. And yeah, if I'm sitting there with my girlfriend, I am not going to go ogling and looking around at other women, because I do realize that's disrespectful. And if we do get caught a little bit, she and I both joke. We know that we like looking at other people. We both feel safe and secure, and we know that we're not doing it for another reason. But I also understand that there is a line, and you don't step over it. Most men, I think, get that. Not all men, you can't speak for an entire gender, but I think most men understand that, but maybe we always don't practice it. Something we could learn.
Yeah. Well, and especially, think about how, and it goes for both men and women. If you're going to look at other people, and maybe even make comment, as in, oh my goodness, he's handsome. Wow, see his arms, or she, wow, what a great, whatever you're going to say. Make sure that there's at least you have that comfort in your relationship, that you also give compliments to each other. That's what would bug me the most. If I don't get, and I'm lacking that a little bit. uh, if you never get or seldom get compliments, especially as a relationship goes on, yeah, that can be, certainly a woman would think that could be hurtful, or it leads to something in your relationship that's unnecessary. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I actually had not thought of that, but that's an excellent point. Is if I'm looking at other people and complimenting them on their lovely smile or their hair or whatever it is, and I don't turn around to my girlfriend Nikki, not that they have to be even, but to sincerely also compliment her, yeah, I can see where that would be an even bigger problem.
And I'm not saying right then and there. Oh, but by the way,
Oh,
you're even
no.
bad. I'm not. Although I
Yeah, I
tease my
said
boy.
this, so I have to say this to say it to the
Yeah, no, no, no,
doghouse.
no. I'm just in general. Are you
Mhm.
complimentary to your partner? And that, I think that's just a good thing to just to even think about or bring awareness to when it comes to these sorts of questions. And that's what these segments are about. Is it's kind of raise awareness. Is this going on in your relationship, and is it hurting it, or how could you make it better? Lastly, and I thought this was so interesting. I never had this question, but maybe. I guess it's out there if you Googled it. Do men ever fake it? How is that even possible?
Uh, that's true. There is some physical evidence usually, but the answer is yes. And like we talked a little bit before this, it's for a surprising reason. I mean, in some cases, yes. I'm assuming, by the way, that when a woman fakes it,
Hmm.
it's because she, I don't know, wants to make the man feel like he was doing something, or maybe just wants him to stop. I don't know. And sometimes a man will do that as well. But the primary reason a man will fake one is because he's getting ready to lose the ability to continue. And now he's faced with a choice. I can put on a Oscar-worthy performance and fake it, or we can have that discussion of how this never happens to me, and no, you are sexy enough, and I'm so sorry. And yeah, so I think pretty much every man has sort of stopped prematurely just because he was afraid that he was not going to be able to finish.
That's so interesting. I mean, you wouldn't think that was possible, but I guess it is.
Uh, it is. I, I myself may have. Well, we won't go there. But no, it is possible. And men do spend a lot of time fearful of performance anxiety. And so if it comes down, that's one of those discussions we don't like to have. We don't like to discuss anything that may hint that we were unable to perform, unable to complete. It's just basically easier to go out a winner.
Well, I know for women, of course, it's huge, like you said, and for the same reasons. And that was something that I vowed never, ever, ever, ever to do again. And because that was my whole life. And that was when we first started Second Act, like 6 years ago. We had big discussions about that. Patty Brisbane, the founder of Pure Romance, we had. And again, it was something that was in my life then, rediscovering sexuality. That was really important, that the prevalence of faking it, and for the exact reasons that you said, is that it's either painful, you wanted to stop, you just but you don't want to hurt the guy's feet. So that is all very easy to explain. But I think this is really good, and thank you for raising that, and thank you for being honest about it. I'm interested to see what if we have a big male audience. See if there's any comments on this.
Whether they're going to come after me for betraying my gender and telling the truth.
Well, you're going to get all of this on YouTube, but maybe and most the viewers have these anonymous avatars anyway, so you can be honest, which is why a lot of ugly comments sometimes happen, because you don't know who you are. So I'd be interested to hear if that's something that is more prevalent than I ever thought it was. So. Interesting stuff, something to think about. And I would encourage you also on these segments. I want to continue doing these with Rick. What would a woman want to know, and just really get an honest answer. Not that we have all the right answers, but thought provoking, or at least one answer that comes from the heart, so to speak. So, Rick, anything else you want to say on this?
No, I think I've done enough damage for myself for one day.
Welcome to YouTube. Oh, that's funny. But anyway, we will, of course, link to your channel, Mastering the Second Half. I encourage you to watch. Lots of fun topics. Rick is a terrific producer and creator, and I'm glad to have you here on Second Act. So see you next time, and let's get out there, let's have fun, and let's rejoice in 2021. See you next time.
Thank you.
If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube. When you see that little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.